East African revivalist movement of black people. But his mind was formed back in the 1800s, man. And he could produce. He said, well, I'm going to produce what the white man got. The white man have carriages. The white man give big titles to niggas. He had 3 million people, and he called, you're going to be the grand Cyclops. That's Ku Klux Klan something. You're going to be the grand something other, right? You're going to be the grand Duke of Dutchingham. It don't make no difference. That's who the nigga is. And that's what he's going to act like. Right? I'm telling you. But psychological guerrilla warfare, he didn't have none of that. Why? He didn't catch that, wait a minute, the system is following me. System is following me, and the system is trying to break me, and they run him back to England to become, instead of a functionary, a writer. In 1940, a white newspaper said Marcus Garvey died. And he died. There wasn't nothing wrong with him. He just died. That means we have to watch our people, the evolution of the movement. Okay, when they talk to us and we say, no, we way out in front of King and Malcolm. We'd have to be here during this time. It's not that they were not good people. It's not that they were not serious people. But they game hell. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm and all of them, they never said nothing about Booker T. Washington and none of them Negroes, the talented tent. In fact, the talented tent became a Pan-African, and then he started pushing. And the stuff, we're not depending on what Marcus Garvey said. The professor in Africa was telling me, he said, Marcus Garvey said, Mama told me, Marcus said, you got the bear, but you ain't got the cubs. Well, he did get the cubs. The boss man got the cubs, and he knew, go after the kids. Go after everybody. So any Negro that can read and write over 3 sentences, he can get him something to go to the white man's school, yeah. Yeah, and I'm not against it, but the white man gives you, he gives people his rationale, right? So they think on, like, look at the news today. I'll get back to the subject. Just the news today. Okay. They got Bezos, or whatever name is, all them people. They are almost trillionaires now. Yeah, okay. Now, what's the rationale? The rationale is, it's simple. Suppose they were thinking, the big white folks, don't worry about the medium size and the smaller, because the big bear is the one that want to gobble up, the concentration of wealth. So the people that has all the authority can say, well, if we want to affect the climate, what we can do is we got to come up with something that will stop people from driving all around, right? Something that'll keep them at home. Something that'll make them use the technology we got, right? Right. So there's coronavirus. They put out the coronavirus, so it locks people at home, so they can use all the technology, right? So that transitions the people to be ready for, right? Oh, we don't have to all drive downtown. So it affects climate change. If you go to the white man's school, you'll accept his rationale. Instead of making a moral, ethical change, he said, here's what we do. And you're going to make $1 trillion off of it. All you do, let me see, who we want this to benefit? Oh, you sell stuff on the thing, right? So we're going to hook it up so you're going to get, you talking about concentration of wealth, everybody going to go broke. but not you and a few more of y'all. Pretty soon Amazon and Uber, not Uber, but whoever them people is that ship stuff, right? This Christmas, ain't nobody going to the store. Why? Because who the hell wants to go to a department store nowadays, right? And who cares about them? Sears and all them people. They care about themselves, but the big boss man, they right here on level 3, and they move pushing number 1. You want to put them out of business? You want to buy all their stuff up for free? Just here's what we do. And they do it. And pretty soon, everybody's at home, right? And who needs downtown? Well, we'll make downtown into housing so you can move up to a 100-story apartment. And we won't have to build nothing out in the woods anymore, right? Next year, 5 years, right? And all the streets, we'll just put trees on one side of the street and have one street you drive up and down, and the rest are big apartments, and we'll make it so neighborhood friendly that you could ride on a bicycle or you could walk every few blocks instead of you have to drive to the mall 100 miles away. Now you can walk, and we're going to have supermarket baskets because people got to work on their health, right? So they will think at the top, how are we going to get this thing and how are we going to fix up the environment? We got to fix the environment. So let's tell the people we're going to fix the environment. What? The people won't even listen if you say it's 300,000 people dead. All you got to do is change your behavior, right? They won't listen. Bump y'all, and then it's getting more and more and more dying. It's doubled up to where the other day it was 3,000 people died. 3,000 in one day.
Wasn't that like this supposed to be the deadliest day in American history?
Yeah, it's more than this. It's the deadliest. Yeah. But it ain't you ain't seen nobody, maybe 1 or 2 people got masks on. The rest of the people, you ain't gonna mess with my freedom. I'm American. I got a right to not wear a mask, right? And they're pushing that. Why are they pushing that? They're pushing that because the big people at the top say, we done already run the people over here. We cannot run them back to here. So we're going to have to kill off, I don't know how many, millions of them, right? And then that's who's dying anyway. Niggers, Indians, and Mexicans. Who wants them? Right? And old white folks. Well, if all the old white folks is gone, the niggas ain't gonna get no Social Security hardly. They was what, but all old white folks. So who wants old white folks outside of the family, right? That's the way they think. And if we go to their damn school, we'll think like them. They'll say, they do it all the time. A war? Hey, nothing like a war, because there ain't none of us. We're going to go and keep the population down. And this one right now, this ain't nothing compared to the bubonic plague and those plagues in the old days. So why not create one? We got to, what they call it, cull the herd. Cull the herd. And cull the niggers. They're in the way. And Mexicans is worse than niggers because there's so many of them. Yeah, Mexicans. Reconquista, they've already done that over 20 years. The reconquest of America. Hey, man, you got a sweet view here. And the Mexicans moving, not Mexicans, but Latinos. Here is Salvadoreños and others. Well, California, they done already knocked that. Colorado, they done knocked it. The Latinos done knocked America. Arizona, Texas, Tijuana, the music, right? We're going to be singing in Spanglish in another minute because this is the way it's going. We done already had that. The Negro done had his chance. He will not be the favorite minority because he's not the big minority anymore. Latinos are. The point is, there's a moral standard, and his school teaches people the standard of morality and ethics. Well, that makes sense. So I know Sakina was telling me the other day, yeah, because that's what she's into. What's going on now is what she's into. Statistics and health care. So she'll go on and get a master's degree. It'll probably be in health management and what have you. And her friends say stuff like, she was telling me yesterday about her friends that are white kids. She said, I tried to be friendly with them white girls, but they would say things like, oh, all those hurricanes down in Puerto Rico, that used to be my favorite vacation, and my boyfriend and I, we were going to take our sailboat or our yacht down there. That's what she was telling me. Yeah, and we can't go down there. There ain't nobody said, well, they blew away 500 Puerto Ricans, 1,000, 10,000 Puerto Ricans, right? They don't say that. They said, and the other one was about the Bahamas. Yeah, the Bahamas, there's so many hurricanes now that we can't go down there, and we have to go to, what's the name spot in Florida? They had some spot there. We have to, and they're oppressed, of course, they're oppressed, but they think like that. And you got to be thinking, well, what about the people? They don't care about the people. And there's enough of them. The higher up that level you go, the less you think about the people. The higher up that level you go, you could wonder, why would the vice president and the president lie so much? They picked liars. That vice president, half-Indian Negro woman, was a dictator in California. Kamala Harris, I got all my paperwork. Kamala Harris, if you don't send your children to school, we're going to put you in jail. Good God Almighty. As crooked as Negro children are, and you tell them, you got to go to school, Johnny, and Johnny said, now they cuss their parents out, but you can imagine they ain't even thinking about it. So they go take the mama and put her in school or cut her off welfare or do anything they want to, right? Or you're not paying your welfare payment, we're going to take your driver's license. This is insane. Well, where can you work without a driver's license? It's insane. Why? That's the way they think. And that niggas that go to their things, they fall right in line. They say, yeah, that makes sense. And then even killing hundreds of thousands of people. What the heck? Actually, they don't say it openly, but, well, we are getting overpopulated. Yeah, we're getting overpopulated, and in fact, it's not killing enough.
I've heard it from immigrants that have come here, that America is letting too many immigrants come here.
Yeah, they'll pull up the ladder. Like Negroes, they pull up the ladder. Hey man, they got Mexicans on the border, the ones been here all the time. You go, like, when I get stopped, like if I'm going to California, sometime I go the southern route. So I'll get stopped at the border, not at the border, but I'll be stopped. They got crossings all the way along the border up into the, so you're going through a checkpoint, and I have a thing full of books and everything, and they'll say, you'll look at it, it'll be one white man, and the rest of the people are Mexicans. Why is that? Because the white man don't know the Mexicans, what they look like. But we know a nigga come from Alabama. Look at that nigga, got a big old floppy shirt on. And a Mexican too. These Mexicans here know the other Mexicans. White man, oh, they all look like Mexicans to me. Oh, they all niggas, right? They hire people. Look at the border control. The border control, all of those institutions are people that have been here, they done gave them a job and what have you, and they don't want any more Mexicans. Unless they came from the generation of the 80s when Ronald Reagan gave them an exemption, let them stay. That generation. And the ones now, the dreamers, they want more Mexicans. Right? Or the ones that done died now, the Chicano movement. You don't hear too much about that. See, we didn't call people in Mexicans in California. We call them Chicanos, all on the West Coast. They're Chicanos, that's the name. So a Chicano is a half nigger, you know what I mean? Yeah, and the Chicano movement. No, the Chicano, because see, we're that cut, all of our customs, we don't consider ourselves like each other, but if you watch how we are, low-riding cars, you think the Mexicans brought out low-riders. No, it wasn't. It was the Negro brought out low-riders. Yeah, the zoot suits, like Malcolm used to wear, it was us brought them out, and then Mexicans was wearing them. They stripped Mexicans butt naked almost in L.A. in the 40s, wearing them zoot suits, because they thought suckers arrogant. But anyway, people pulling up the ladder, they don't want nobody else to get up. It ain't enough room up here, man. It's like a lifeboat. Hey, man, the boat's full. You know, the boat's full. We can't take nobody else. Like the Titanic and all that. Half them lifeboats had plenty of room left. But the people sped on off. They said, we got to get out of here because them people out there drowning will be jumping all on board or whatever they can. So they go way out. Then they wait till after everybody froze to death and come back and say, anybody? About 2 people. Because you got 20 minutes in that North Atlantic. When a pilot used to get shot down, flying over Korea and all that in the water, hey, you got 20 minutes, homeboy, or you're going to be froze to death, right? That's just not hypothermia, but whatever it is, lower thermia, you know, hypo and hyper. Yeah, when you down, you got to, you know, you can't last in that. I don't know if anybody have ever jumped in the ice water before. No, what I remember better than anything is we was coming across the country. We went to a program. You know, at the end of the year, the summer camps closed for kids. So this was September. Yeah, I think it was September, maybe around 91. No, 81, 82. I was 81, 82. So we're going to a camp the Muslims are having up in the Rockies there, up in the mountains near Reno and all of that. That's Nevada, and then it was up in those mountains, Sierras. So that water is all melted snow. So we was down, not in the snow because it's in September. Still, the weather outside is nice, but the summer camps are closed, and only the Muslims would want to use them. So, boy, this beautiful stream of this river, I got up on the rock, and I used to like to swim a lot. So and coming up, I was hollering, I believe, underwater. Because you know how at ice water, it felt like knives.
Yeah, it hurts.
I said, hey, man, when I come up out of that water, because the snow was right up there, a couple of miles up, and that water was so cold, it was just like running ice water. Hey, man, and I was hollering loud. And I said, I'm going to be very careful from now on about any water I jump into. Because I used to swim in that type of water, but it would be like 100 miles down the road. And the water is cool and then acclimatized and all that. But anyway, let me get back to these subjects right here. The thing about it is, Boss Man has an educational system. He has a whole system, and he'll replenish it with us. People he replenish it with, they will think like him, or somewhere close to it. And you study all the